and his fuck ass team. I don't know. I know it's not his team. I know it's his bitch ass. Gonna tell the Breakfast Club the only reason why this motherfucker asking for spousal support because I was asking for everything. Because I was asking for everything, and because I don't be with my kids. Yo, you such a fucking pussy ass nigga. Word to my mother. I want you to die, but I want you to die fucking slow, nigga. When you die, nigga, I want you to die slow in the bed. And when you die, nigga, you gotta think of me.
Order. With all that loudness. Ugh. Child. Let's get into this now. Let's just go. I'm going to go ahead and give this disclaimer in the beginning. This is the court of public perception presided over by me, the Honorable Judge Yaya. All opinions, judgments, and spiritual verdicts issued herein are rooted in cultural observation, ancestral memory, and unapologetic discernment. Now, let me be legally cute for just a second. Everything here is stated is allegedly, my opinion, supposedly, possibly, could be, maybe, or maybe not. Don't sue me. Go somewhere and heal. Thank you. This is not a court of law. It's a court of wisdom with wake-up calls and all that other stuff, okay? So if you feel personally convicted by the content, take it up with your higher self and don't take it to my comment section. This ain't slander. It's soul work. It's not an attack. It's just an audit. It's considered a spiritual audit, baby, okay? Now that we got that understood, child, court is officially in session. Today, we are here to evaluate a case that has unfolded time and time again in the public eye, one that is all too familiar for many women in this world, yet it is often dismissed until the consequences catch up with them, of course. The case before us is one Cardi B, a woman who has been doing the most, shielding, defending, and uplifting her partners, only to receive the least in return. Now, let's be clear here. We're not just talking about Cardi B's personal life. Really, this is just bigger. It's about a pattern of women who carry the emotional and relational weight while their counterparts move through life with little to no accountability. Cough, cough, Kelly Stamps. It's a tale as old as time. A woman gives her all, does all of the heavy lifting, and what does she get? Not the support that she deserves, but more of their mess to clean up. Surprise her. What? I just mixed two words. No, shocker is what I meant to say. And in this case, Offset is the one that she tried to build a family with, shield from public scandal, and make things work for him. And it appears that he is trying to walk away with a little more than he deserves, like he's already been doing. But reports say he's filing for spousal support, a reality that actually many women like Cardi B can relate to. So let's rewind. Cardi B entered this relationship knowing, and I mean knowing, full well that Offset had 6 churn with multiple women. She knew that his presence in those kids' lives was limited, even though she tried to facilitate it, as many women do. Guys like him, though, aren't really present, and I guess it's hard to be a dad when you're running around, breaking homes, and then starting new ones, but still, she carried the burden. So now let's get to the heart of the matter. Cardi B's situation is really not isolated. How many women do we know who do everything for their partners, for their families, only to be left with the absolute bare minimum in return? The absolute least. Like I said, they can't even ask for fidelity. They can't even ask for, you not to cheat. Right? So Cardi B defended him when it was not even convenient for her. She gave him a second, third, fourth chance. But in the end, it is her who is left holding the bag of public humiliation, financial strain, and emotional exhaustion. So this is the reality that many women who try to make something out of nothing, only to have their worth questioned and undermined by the very people they're helping to build. And since we're talking about worth being sabotaged, let's talk about her rebound guy. See, this is clearly why y'all gotta stop letting men think that they're the prize, okay? Let's connect the dots. So, doo-doo garbage, as he has been so affectionately named by the collective, was calling women balls like he is in 6th grade before we have to run that one lap and then play a game of flag football and basically has convinced himself that he's a king of something or a prize of any sort. And this is all really just a cover up for the fact that the other guys teased him in the locker room before they came out, or whatever else from that time period that he hasn't cried about, and therefore walks around being the villain and thinking that it's cute. But in the words of Whitney Houston, it's not alright, but it's okay, because he'll really learn when he's home by himself and none of those kids are paying him any dust. Yeah. Anyway, where was I? Oh, yeah, that's right. The Red Pillhead Boys, or whatever they call themselves, was at a streamer university doing that. And, Offset watches all that crap because he was on Kai Cenat's stream. So, yes, he's into all of that stuff. So Offset comes out and makes this stupid reference when what he needs to be doing is checking the references of some tax lawyers, which is why he's seeking this support. Allegedly. Okay. But unfortunately, this wasn't the only embarrassing moment that Cardi has to, kind of shield from herself, because her rebound embarrassed her even more, if you ask me, by posting himself with the ball as a response. And yes, I do know that his career is, playing with the balls, but that was clearly a fucking response to Offset. So now, y'all should know I have a problem with all of these male chauvinists and any persons that stand on their sides. Honestly, of course, we can expect this from the type of guys who are okay with these type of chicks calling him nigga. So, I mean, honestly, what do you really expect? You know what? Woe be unto you all. Now let us rewind to look at another high-profile case, the case of Mary J. Blige, a woman who, despite all the strength that she projects onto the world, she found herself caught in a situation many women will recognize, where doing the most still meant getting the least. So let's talk about Kendu, who Mary J. Blige gave a job that he likely wasn't really qualified for, but still, she supported him. She poured into this relationship, and what did she get in return? Well, Kendu had children before their marriage, and after their divorce, Mary J. Blige found herself paying for support for him and the kids that weren't even biologically hers. Do you see a problem here? Men are the real gold diggers, because let me just say this. For all the women who might be thinking it, if I were Mary, you understand something? I will be in Cuba with a sada somewhere, living my best life or faking my death before I give this nigga a dime. Okay? I am not paying child support either for somebody else's kids. Like, what? But I mean, it's the emotional labor. That was enough. But to have to support this nigga financially after no. And have y'all seen Mary on stage? Like, you can tell how tired she is. Oh, God. The kicker here is that the public sees Mary J. Blige, this empowered queen, who has been through the struggle and built herself up. But inside of this relationship, she was playing that role of the supportive, loving wife. And you see this time and time again, even with these women who are very powerful and have to diminish themselves in their light so that their partner, who clearly isn't up to snuff, doesn't get jealous. Now, here is the mental health angle that I need to talk about. This behavior isn't just about being too nice or being naive. No, when a woman consistently pretends like her partner is a person she wants the world to see, she will bend over backwards to create this false reality because something deeper is at play. So there was a trend on TikTok with women like getting a bunch of roses and like shoving them in their boyfriend's hands, or putting him on the stoop and like opening the door and making it seem as if he got the flowers. Like, do you understand like oh my God, just the embarrassment of that? I don't know why they decided to film it either. It's just, oh God, all a no. But that's in play with this as well, if you ask me, because this seems like that mental health issue that is like that trauma bonding, low self-esteem, low self-worth, and just the pressure to maintain the image of a perfect relationship, no matter the cost to her own mental and emotional well-being. So some might even call it a form of cognitive dissonance, where a woman has to suppress the truth of her partner's behavior, basically because they're facing it, and it may mean admitting to herself that she's been living a lie for far too long. And in some extreme cases, like if you've seen that Bad Baby or whatever that, I don't know how to say it, but that Catch Me Outside girl who was on Dr. Phil. But you will have that Stockholm syndrome from being able to justify and defend a person who is actually harming you. In all of these cases that have been presented, it is the internalized belief that she must give and give, even to the point of exhaustion, because society tells her that if she doesn't, she's not a good partner, or she's not going to be chosen, continuously chosen by this person. So she's not woman enough to make it work. And in believing that, my friends, that is where you're failing yourself. When you push yourself to sacrifice for the sake of a relationship that is based on false love and empty promises, like the women with the roses, that it leads to your own failure, your own downfall. Now, we've heard the case of Cardi B and Offset, but we have to pause and acknowledge that there are innocent lives involved in this situation. That's right, the kids. They didn't sign up for this. They're the only real victims here, if you ask me, and we have to recognize that before we stop this video. So let's be clear here. Cardi B, you knew what you were getting into. You knew that he had multiple children with multiple women before you decided to have kids with him. But for whatever reason, you went ahead and continued the relationship and got the summer rocket package. And now here you are with this energy, right? And you're publicly stating that he doesn't visit the children, and you're acting as if you didn't see this coming, and I don't believe you. But I'm here to tell you that you should have known from how he treated himself, his previous kids, and the other women. Now let's talk about this little known phenomena that a lot of women deal with, the competitive maternal complex. It's the feeling that they can lock down a man who's already had kids with someone else, that they've somehow won in the eyes of society. This is often a response to insecurity or the need to feel chosen, you pick me, whatever. But the truth is, that man isn't choosing anyone. He's literally just taking advantage of anyone who will give him what he needs, and he can give the least to in return. And he'll take it from whoever will give it up the longest with no complaints. Now, when it comes to men like Offset, this complex gets worse. Women ignore the wisdom of anyone who has come before them and just toss them off as the bitter baby mama. One thing is sure, if you don't listen to the red flags or look at them, you are guaranteed to walk in their footsteps, and it will be a walk of shame. And here's the thing I want to emphasize to women in these situations. You can't sit here and feel sorry for yourself while you're sitting in the same situation that other women have warned you about. Empathy and sympathy are meant for the kids who have no choice in all of this, not for the grown people who continue to make the same mistakes over and over again. Y'all are grown. You have to take responsibility for your part in this. So let's get back to the kids, okay? The ones who are just caught in this crossfire. Now, we've seen this situation where the kids are left to shoulder these responsibilities that they shouldn't have to. I was going to talk in depth about this issue, like with so many kids having to carry all of these burdens and all of this stuff. But you know what? Since my patience is as short as y'all attention spans, I'm just going to let the reaction of these kids from the mom who has 11 kids already and is now announcing her 12th on TikTok. I'm going to show you that, and you can just tell from the whole top row that the kids are just out of there. Like, they all just walked off and they all were just shocked and not feeling it at all. Like, the baby literally had to hold up her church finger so she wouldn't like go off on camera. You know that. She was like, you know what? Let me just tip on out. For y'all pass that collection plate. So you have to know that these kids end up being the parent to at least one of their siblings, because their own mother, their own parents, keep having more kids, leaving them to pick up the slack somewhere. And with 12 kids, it's easy to drop the ball somewhere. So they're having to at least take one of these kids on as like a prodigy, you know. But in this case, they are tired, right? They're tired of having to parent their younger siblings, tired of having to watch their mother repeat these mistakes, watch their father do the same, tired of not getting enough attention from either of them, and having to really seem unbothered by it. And it seems like this is just a matter of a woman having kids to fill the void inside of herself in these hopeless situations, instead of actually coming from a maternal instinct. And they may love their mother, but it's a love that is buried under the resentment of having to be an adult too soon. Now back to the case of Cardi B and Offset. I actually hope that Cardi B drops this rebound, it doesn't seem like the antics are working to make him mad, or they're definitely working to make him mad. But I think the priority should actually be, showing off maybe with the kids and showing off that the energy of you're going to be all right without him. That'll make him hurt worse than you trying to like make him jealous with another dude, because they're just using it as objects in between themselves. They're not really, doing this for anything with you. The thing that he really get mad about is those like braids with the kids, but I'm not even getting into that because all that shit is petty. So let's go to the final verdict. My final verdict is both Offset and Cardi B is guilty. No one ever really thinks about how it feels to be caught up in a game that you never chose to play, to be the text message weapon, the holiday guilt trip, the Instagram proof of good parenting, or TikTok rather. I know it's no fun to feel like a pawn in your parents' petty chessboard game of clapbacks, competition, and custody wars. The child really just becomes a tug of war rope in between these two adults who are too busy trying to prove points than trying to, protect peace. But they don't want to be the proof that someone was a good man or the punishment for someone being a bad woman. They just want to be wanted and not used. And every skipped birthday, every broken promise, every time they show up more online than in real life, it doesn't just break trust, it shapes identity. And what's worse, the child knows the truth before either of these parents ever admit it. And probably when they mention it down the line, they'll have to go like no contact or something like all these people are doing with their boomer parents, because they refuse to admit the truth and refuse to, admit that it's actually happened in the past. But you know what? Cardi, Belcalis, and Kiari, you both are guilty of choosing a path of chaos. And while it may be difficult to break free from this cycle, the consequence of continuing this pattern will be felt for generations. So that's your decision. And to the women who are caught up in this cycle, whether it's with an Offset type or someone else, you need to recognize when enough is enough. Your competition isn't with other women. I promise you that. It's with your own soul. That's the only person that you are thinking you're in a war with. So stop sacrificing your peace, your happiness, and the future of your children, if you decide to have them for whatever reason, just to be chosen by a man who doesn't deserve your energy. So, Cardi, the court demands that you stop using the N-word immediately. Of course, that may end your rap career, but tell me something I didn't already know. Come out with a line of Fashion Nova kids or some shit. All right, Offset, the consequence of your actions will be felt in this lifetime swiftly and deeply until the day you course correct. You will no longer have the privilege of leaning on Cardi B's energy for free, and your work officially begins now. Adjourn your asses.